What seems to be happening right now, Matt, is the wide receiver position seems to be the position with the most talent, we can call it right now, highlighted by guys like Eric Singleton, Nick Anderson, the pair of wide receivers from Kentucky as well. So who are some early favorites to maybe land some of these prolific pass catchers?
Well, you named four talented guys there, and there are others also. There have been a number of high-end talented receivers that have gone in through the early part of the portal window being open, and that's definitely been one of the big storylines from my perspective. But Eric Singleton's our number one ranked overall player, not just number one ranked wide receiver, but he's number one ranked overall player for us in the portal right now. He visited Auburn. Auburn feels optimistic about their chances with him, but at the same time, there are schools like Ole Miss and some other high-end top programs that are pushing for him as well. Nick Anderson, who you mentioned also, an interesting one. Nick missed most of this year due to an injury, but set an Oklahoma freshman record last year with 10 touchdown catches. He is set, from what I heard last night, to visit Texas A&M and LSU in the coming days. And then the two Kentucky receivers. So you have two talented ones that, unfortunately for Kentucky, left the Wildcats. And with Barry and Brown, just to start with him, you have someone who has a ability on offense, but at the same time, significant special teams ability to go along with that and return 5 kicks for touchdowns the last few years at Kentucky. LSU is the school to watch for him right now. Just finished up a visit there to Baton Rouge, and LSU feels good about where they stand at this point. And then his running mate from Kentucky, Dane Key, who also left, was very productive there the last few years at Kentucky. He has schools like Georgia that are involved, Ole Miss, some other top programs, and Georgia is at least one that the current plan is to visit at some point during the course of the next few days.
Yikes. I know there's no love lost in the portal these days, Matt, but man, there's a lot of SEC on SEC crime here with some of these wide receivers, specifically the guys from Kentucky. When it comes to the quarterback market, though, our friend Chris Hummer is going to join us a little bit later on in the show to talk about guys who have already made their commitments. But for those who are still mulling it over and taking visits, what does their market look like right now?
Well, two of the more interesting ones that have gone in recently, like it would obviously be easy to focus on Miller Moss and Jackson Arnold and some of those top ranked guys that are huge names nationally and very much well known. But two players that I think that people on a national level are going to become more and more familiar with in the coming weeks are a combination of Fernando Mendoza from Cal, who went in 2 days ago, I think it was. I've had some people in the coaching world and the personnel space that have talked Fernando up big time. So the stats wouldn't necessarily jump out and make you think like this is somebody who's going to be maybe the most coveted quarterback option in the portal this cycle, but he is going to have some high-end teams after him, and have had some people in the personnel space that have compared him to actually another former Cal quarterback in Jared Goff, who obviously was a number one overall draft pick, has played in the NFL for a long time, and he's been consistently referred to on my end, Fernando, as somebody with big-time arm talent and NFL upside. And then one more quickly to touch on also from quarterback perspective, who is going to be interesting to follow the next couple of days, is Billy Edwards, who was the starting quarterback in Maryland this season. He made the decision to go into the portal yesterday, informed the Maryland staff that he was going to be going in. He's set to visit Wisconsin coming up, but the team that Chris Hummer and I have continued to hear as the one to very much keep an eye on with him is Michigan. So the Wolverines in the market for a bridge option at quarterback, obviously landed Bryce Underwood as their quarterback of the future, but want to add a one-year bridge type guy. And Billy Edwards is somebody who's very much on the radar for them as a possibility.
We know Fernando Mendoza has the spirit. He's the one behind the infamous post-game quote, going 98 yards with his boys. Now he's looking for a new group of boys to go 98 yards with. There's a specific prospect that I want to ask you about that I know you're excited about. Illinois State edge Stephen Curtis is an under-the-radar prospect, according to you, but also, according to you, probably won't stay that way for very long. Why is this somebody that's going to jump onto the scene in the portal?
Well, we all love finding the diamonds in the rough and the under the radar guys that end up blowing up. So it's interesting with Illinois State. So Illinois State had an offensive lineman, Hunter Zambrano, who I think we have ranked as one of our top 5 overall players in the portal, and just committed to Texas Tech in the last couple of days. Was a huge get for Joey McGuire. But has somebody who was a teammate of his there, Stephen Curtis, that you just mentioned, who it's funny because like I mentioned with Fernando Mendoza, the numbers wouldn't necessarily jump out and make you think like this is somebody who's just going to absolutely blow up in the portal. But he's a 6'5", 255-pound second-year player who came up for me originally a couple of weeks ago as far as being on the radar for some bigger schools. And there probably 99% of people on a national level have no idea who Stephen Curtis is. But I'm just telling you right now, but by the end of this, at the end of the day, he's going to end up somewhere at the P4 level and potentially even at a top place, especially, I mean, what adds to my confidence is just hearing about just some of the raw developmental NFL caliber type traits that he has that going beyond the stats are just apparent when you turn on the tape. So that's one that if you're looking for a diamond in the rough type figure who's going to blow up during the course of the next week, 2 weeks, whatever, he is a good name to keep an eye on.
There are plenty of examples of players moving up from those lower levels to Power 4 conferences, finding success and getting drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. There's good football being played everywhere.